So what's the best Betfair trading strategy? What do you need to do in order to be profitable in the long term? Well, really, you need to win, don't you? But of course, losses are part of the game. So maybe your objective is to win more than you lose. That would be the key to successful Betfair trading. However, there are actually 3 things that you really need to know about Betfair trading in order to be profitable in the long term. And I'm going to tell you what those are in this video. I've been successfully betting and trading for over 20 years. So if you want more videos like this one, then please subscribe, like, and click on the bell icon to get notification of new videos as they're released. You should also visit the Academy, where we offer more structured learning. You can visit the forum, where you can speak to like-minded people and download additional content. And don't forget to go to our website and download a free trial of BetAngel, the cutting-edge software that will completely transform your trading. So when you look at a trading market, one of the key things that people say to me is, hey, what's the best strategy? Just tell me the one thing, allow me to focus on one thing. But that's not reality. There are actually several aspects that you need to work on in order to become a good trader. It took me a few years to pull all of these together, but they make perfect sense. If you do just one of these, it won't work. If you do 2 of them, you may be able to get things to work. But if you do all 3, you will be a really, really good trader, not just in sports betting markets, but in financial markets and so on. And really what you need to do is focus on these 3 things: money management, strategies and tactics, and psychology. Each of them I'm going to discuss in a little more depth in a moment. And if you can get all of these things right, you will become a really good trader. So the first area that you need to focus on is money management. If you actively manage your bank correctly and your staking correctly, then you can stay in the game for a long period of time. If you mismanage these, then you're going to run into problems. So your objective really when you're using money management is to not overtrade, not overstake, not get yourself into a position where you're likely to damage your trading bank, because part of your objective is to try and hang into the market for as long as possible. One of the problems that you have when you first start trading is that actually you probably won't be profitable straight away. It'll be unlikely. And therefore your funds are going to just dwindle away a little bit before you manage to turn things around and get profitable. I've seen everybody go through the same stage. But if you are using the wrong staking system, then you'll probably go bust before you even get the chance to find a strategy that you enjoy, you like, and that you're good at. When I first started trading, I had a trading bank and I actually split it into 2 so that I basically gave myself leeway. If I bust the first time, then basically I would write that off as experience, the cost of learning, and then I would have a second bank that I would be able to continue onwards with all of the knowledge that I gained by losing the first. Now the fact is that never actually happened, but it's still something that I suggest to people because it just gives you that sense of surety that you're going to be okay while you're learning, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't mismanage that bank anyway. And what you should be doing is basically staking either a percentage of your bank, or if you look inside BetAngel, you can actually stake by tick size. And that will allow you to do stakes proportionate to the risk that you're taking within the market. At the end of the week, you basically reset that. So if it's risen over the course of the week, you can slowly scale up. But if it's actually fallen, then your stake the next week will be slightly smaller. That will keep you in the game for much, much longer. I have actually done videos on money management, trading expectancy, and those sort of things. So one of the things I suggest you do, if you want to understand this in a little bit more depth, is to actually have a look at that particular video. I've also done videos on staking and how I manage my risk through staking. So you should probably check out that video as well. But fundamentally speaking, if you get your money management correct, then that will hold you in the game for much longer and give you a lot more time to be able to perfect your trading strategy and move towards profitability. Now, one of the obvious areas that you need to work on is having a decent strategy. But curiously, this is the area that most people focus on predominantly, and they forget about everything else. And of course, we will talk about the other items that are important as well. But one of the things that I've said to you before, and I will say to you again, is that when you're looking at strategies, all strategies work if you apply them to the right market. So having a strategy does not guarantee that you're going to be profitable. It's a bit like going onto a golf course with a 9-iron you'll do really well on the par threes, but you're going to struggle on the par fives. In fact, you'll never hit par with a iron. So it's very unlikely that you will ever be able to hit par, but you're also not going to be able to compete with people in the market who are using a better strategy. So remember when you're actively trading that's an important part of it. Pick the right clubs for the hole, pick the right strategy for the market. That will definitely lead you down the right path. If you just apply one strategy generically across all of the markets, you're going to get very, very mixed results. And that's why I'm using the golf metaphor, because it's a good way of trying to understand exactly what your objective is. And also think about it, golf isn't like a trading market, because in golf you have to play every hole. But when you're actively trading, you could actually say, this is a par five, I'm not going to play this one. However, if you want to win a golf major, you're going to have to play all 18 holes. So it really depends upon where you want to reach and what your ability is and what you're trying to achieve. Because if you want to be, the best, or you want to perform at the highest level, you're going to have to learn to use all those clubs. But it doesn't mean, especially when you're starting out, that you can perhaps just pick one club that you prefer. But also think about the other thing that I've said here. Is that we're focusing on strategies and tactics, because if you put a strategy into the market, if somebody is doing it slightly better than you, then necessarily they will probably beat you. And as a consequence, when we look at strategies, I think that you need to focus on strategies and tactics, because tactics are the way that you do it. You define a market that you want to put a strategy into, and then you use a particular tactic to be able to do that. Probably the best demonstration I can give to you is I did a video specifically about a certain strategy that has worked really well over a very large number of years, if you put it in the right market, of course. But then I did a follow-up video a week after, which was basically how you would do this within BetAngel, and I used a servant to manage the position in to the market for me. So not only did I get the right strategy, I applied it to the right market, but my execution was second to none as well. And if you're looking at getting an edge within the market, those are things that will help you do that. It's not just about the strategy, because if somebody was trying to do the same strategy on a mobile phone or via the website, I would beat them. I would be better than them at that particular strategy. So yeah, bear that in mind. It's not just about strategies, although they are important. It's about the market selection process, and it's about how you do it. And the third key part of this particular mix is the psychology of trading. And psychology permeates all different aspects of the market. It took me a few years to get around to this. I was trading in quite a conventional sense for a period of time, but the penny dropped. There's a story behind that, which you can find in other videos. But when the penny dropped, I suddenly realized that it opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me, because the way that I traded the markets changed. Rather than necessarily looking for an opportunity and executing well against it, I started looking in the market for periods and points within the market where people are most likely to make mistakes. How did I know they're going to make mistakes? Because of the psychology of trading. So when we're talking about the psychology of trading, there are sort of three subsets to that. There's your own personal psychology, how you approach risk, the way that you manage your emotions, and all of those areas. That's something that's important to understand and to work on. There's the psychology of the market, the way that the market works and behaves. Because if you can understand that, you can get ahead of that and understand what's likely to happen in the market given what has just happened. So that's an important aspect as well. And then especially when we're looking at sports betting, it's the psychology of the field of play. Things that are happening on the sport that you're looking at that will necessarily influence what happens next, and therefore that will influence the odds. So if you understand that, you can basically get in ahead of that as well. But yeah, never underestimate the psychology of trading. I wasn't too sure about it the first time I ever came across it, but it was only years later, after having been in the market for so long, that I realized just how important it was. And again, I've done a video on this, describing what your objective is fairly clearly. And I suggest if you want to watch that video, that's definitely worth a watch, because it details in good depth some of the key aspects of all of those factors that I've just talked about. So yeah, never underestimate the psychology of trading. So if you basically look after these three key aspects of trading, money management will stop you from going bust. It will allow you to accurately get the balance right between profits and losses depending upon the strategy that you're using in the underlying market. That's key, because that will allow you to manage that particular aspect of things. It will allow you to grow your bank, limit your losses, all of those nice little things. Strategies and tactics. It's very important to have the right strategy, but how are you going to deploy it? If you match the strategy to the market, that will improve and give yourself an edge over people who have not done that. But necessarily, if your execution is better than them, that will also give you an edge as well. So it's not just the strategy that you're looking at, it's the market that you're looking at and how you're going to deploy it into that particular market. And then last but not least, and in fact, over the years, I think this has become more prominent for me, and I've become to realize just how important this is. You need to look at psychology. Psychology of yourself, the psychology of the market, and the psychology of the sport in which you're actively trading. So if you put all of these three things together, then you will be a really good trader. You may get away with doing 2 of 3, but I almost guarantee you that if you just do 1 of 3, it will not work. And this is why a lot of people drop out of the trading game, because they try a strategy, they can't seem to get it to work, and they vanish without a trace. And that is why you need these other components to be able to put all of that together and to make yourself an absolutely brilliant trader. Anyhow, I hope that video has been useful for you.